All righty, we got Josh and Benji from Country Central. What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm drinking
We're
some
doing.
brewskis over here.
We just spent the last half hour talking shit before we hit play.
I'm very fancy, like Walker Hayes,
Oh.
drinking some bush lattes
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah.
end my day.
I got
Everyone's
a
gonna
cold
bully
one.
me. I keep getting bullied for Dos Equis.
What?
Why?
That's amazing.
I love
beer.
Dos Equis.
I'm every time we go live, I'm bullied for it. Like, they're like,
That's like in the, no,
The
that's,
audience
is it what, too high
is
end?
drinking different. The audience
no,
is
I
drinking
think they
something
think it's
different than
low
each
end,
other.
or I think they think it's like over commercialized. But I mean, it's hot down here. I'm gonna drink the lightest beer I can.
That's one of my favorites.
They just don't know that he's in Miami.
I'm obsessed now with Modelo. Like I always would drink it in
Yeah.
Mexico, but then now like with moving into a house and like the garage fridge, and like for me it's Modelo. Like I put Modelo in there, but right now I got Bush Latte came out with the aluminum pints, so I was
That's
like, I gotta
beautiful.
do this and represent one of our partners here. But
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we were shooting the shit with you guys, and so I know we sent kind of an email too earlier about some of the like the funny takes or like the fans. You do the fan thing, right? About
Tuesday hot takes.
Hot
the
Take
hot
Tuesdays.
takes. You guys
Yeah.
have some. It sounds like some pretty good ones. I've seen some funny ones, but did you guys like compile any of the ones you
I
disagree
think Josh
with?
pulled a list of a couple that
I
we
just
got
kind of want to lay
recently.
out like, I just want to kind of state that the hot takes that get posted on that story and some of the ones you get through, like it's only about like 0.5% of the amount they're submitted. There's so many casuals, they're just submitting like, here's my hot take. Morgan Wallen is underrated. Like that's
Yeah.
what they're that's
Morgan
what
Wallen
that's the
should
big
release
brain move.
More
So,
music, things like that. Are what we
Tuesday's
hear
a
normally.
24/7
Zach Bryan doesn't
job.
release enough music.
Boom.
No, it's just Zach Bryan is not good. Like that's what they'll say. It's like this is my big brain hot take of the week. So I have to work really hard to find the
Just sort through the mess.
So the mess that he finds and he posts will still get people riled up. So it's a funny thing. It's lighthearted. I'm glad that we do it because it makes people think, but also makes artists come into the comments and
Well, I like how you guys-
some of them agree with someone, which is kind of funny to me.
We'll share screenshots that we have for years of like articles that we know are going to kind of hit well on Instagram, and even if it's not like visually, I don't really care. I kind of like the
Yeah.
chaos of ours versus the shininess of yours to be on. Like I love what you guys do, but for us it's like fuck it, just boom 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 boom. Some days
Yeah,
it's 8
full send. Yeah.
videos and whatever, but yeah, I mean, I laugh sometimes when you do the reviews though, and it's bad and you still tag the artist. That's stuck out for me.
It's I mean, I think it's one of those
You get
things though
comments,
that
you get to DM.
even when Josh is like, I mean, we started a certain way and like we would tag
chilled
everyone,
out a
we
bit.
wouldn't. But there's been times where Josh didn't tag people. It doesn't matter. It still gets to people. So I mean, it got to a point when we were doing reviews, boom, they were too high. Then we would do some, they're too critical. Now I'm like, dude, I'm reviewing whatever we want to review, and it's nice. You get to see reactions from all kinds of people. And yes, you get DM somewhere, or through somebody that's related to an artist. Absolutely. You know what I mean? But
we've stopped
think-
tagging some because I mean, like, all right, we gave like a song a 1, and I don't really want to tag them. But then
Which
like
song?
This Miller Light of Mine by Drew Green. That one got a
nice
1.
guy.
I didn't tag him, but I mean, like when there's 45 comments just tagging at Drew Green, look what they did. He's gonna see it.
Yeah.
And then still, when I tag some artists, they still don't open because a lot of artists still don't follow. So a lot of them still
The
don't
open DM thing, that's such a pain in the ass. Like it sends it to
Yeah.
everybody, and I'm like, you gotta fucking
With
I don't
all
like
that
that.
said, though, we gave a Drew Green song a 1, great, and then literally, I think the next day, like I went to UT football fan. It was the week of the Alabama UT game, and like I just was playing my guitar and like did a quick video and like tagged some of the writers of that Connor Smith "I Hate Alabama" song, and Drew Green wrote that song, so he saw that, and I'm with Country Central. He sees that I'm doing that.
Yeah,
and
we
then he
collab posts on that.
but he reposted that, so it's an interesting thing. Just when we talk about Nashville and how small of a bubble it is, you can in one breath be critical, but also say, hey, like actually like something that you've done. I think that's a beautiful thing.
One analogy I've used a few times as a sports fan, now that you mentioned football and stuff, is like in professional sport, I mean, even college, but like in professional sports or whatever, you have beat reporters, right? And a lot of these guys are there for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, some of them even. like spend their whole life. So people, if people don't know this with like sports journalism, it's like, so this guy for like the Cubs will talk shit about management, talk shit about a player not hustling, talk shit about, but then he's in the locker room every single game talking to those guys after he just shit on them because they deserved it. And as a professional athlete, you have to know that and accept it. And you see it sometimes where they kind of pop off at a reporter because, hey, you said that one thing that one time. But overall, like they're so good about like understanding this is part of the business. Where in music, it ain't. Like we post West, you want to take over with the Florida Georgia line meme, and then that just set off a shitstorm with them.
I mean, I felt like that was such a layup too. Like, I don't know if you guys remember back to the 2020 election, but right during the debates, Jake Tapper, after that very first one, was like, that was a dumpster fire. That was a train wreck. That was, I don't know what he said. And I was like, oh, Florida Georgia Line's next single. Like such a layup, easy. Come on. Like harmless, fun. And just like Brittany Kelly, Brian's wife, just like went off and like snapped on us. She snapped on Steve, started posting screenshots of his like wife and kid, which to me was way out of line. So I wrote a follow-up piece being like, look at this.
I saw that
motherfucker doing this.
And
I got,
you know how many people in Nashville emailed us after that?
I got
article
emails from songwriters. I got texts from artists being like, call that shit out. That's unacceptable. And you know, whatever. It's like,
and maybe we meet them and they say sorry and it's all cool, but like that's such a great example, I think, of the sensitivity.
But to me, it's always like, to go back to Steve's sports analogy, like if you have a bad Sunday as a quarterback, it's like, man, you didn't play well. You know, you didn't play well. Sorry. You come out with a song that's not great, like not a great song. Sorry, I don't like it.
We love Justin more as much as anybody, and one of our favorite guys to talk to. And he is like so open about that one album where he went like pop, kind of. Not like he doesn't like shit on it, but he's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I did it once.
Some
he's
creative
like,
liberties.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can even bring up someone like mainstream wise as someone like Thomas Rhett too. I mean, I think he's a guy that openly can say, I do everything. He could call out a song on like a recent album he put out that he just doesn't like, even though he recorded it, you know? So I think it's just one of those things that it helps when an artist is able to like not take it so seriously, but I get it, right? I know this is a creators world that they're in. So I get it, but it's nice when we see the balance. Like literally we could have a critical review or a funny take, but the same breath. I mean, I love music, man. It's like on any given day for whatever random reason, I know Grady had a little walk down memory lane. I mean, we were all looking up FGL songs we actually liked, you know, and we can still in that breath call out, oh, this is a decent song I like by them. And here's some of the writers that wrote it. And like, they're all part of the Nashville community. And it's a cool thing that we've been able to do, Josh and I, Country Central. That's like, we can be critical. We can still celebrate people. Honestly, the people that are behind the scenes writing the stuff is who we celebrate the most. And yeah, it's been a really cool thing where it's like the artists benefit, the fans benefit because they get to communicate with the artists they like. And then we benefit because we're just, you know, having a blast with the mix of like the hot takes and obviously some analysis of the industry and whatnot. So it's been pretty cool. I think
it's not personal too. I think that's the hard part is like,
and they took it personal with your meme. That's what really kind of,
and I think it's like, you know, it's like even with Thomas Rhett, like we've ribbed him quite a bit over the years, and he will hop in the DMs and be like, "Oh man, I think you might like my next thing," and then it's
not
like,
everyone's gonna be
my
like
wife
that.
Loves what you write.
He's
Didn't he say like my wife loves that you kind of like shit on this song?
Yeah, I think his wife likes more traditional
fan.
country and stuff.
Sure.
And so she was like, "Oh, my wife always enjoys kind of reading you." Kind of.
What was that song he dropped in 2021 that was like reminiscent?
It's like Redneck Be Like. That was pretty rough. That people.
Oh yeah, because I think I posted about it, and then he DM'd me like, "I hope the kids like this one." After
exactly, and
like,
then he got ripped in one of our posts, and I think he commented in it, and I think Josh after that, you're like, it's cool that he can be that okay with people criticizing because like most artists
our early days, some of our better articles that were just kind of random thought pieces were like, I remember I wrote a blog, it was like, I tried to be all like cool with the title. It was like, I miss this Thomas Rhett or something. There was something ridiculous, but it was all of his songs that he kind of gave to other people when he started out, like I Ain't Ready to Quit and the real country stuff that he didn't do.
Sure.
And he kind of went super pop and like hired like dance instructors and stuff. So it was like, yeah, like that's not my thing. Like, so we kind of, but I can appreciate even like right now, like what's his song on the radio with Riley Green, right? It's kind of,
Sure.
it's a
It's
catchy
a beer
song,
but I like the
you can
traditional
be,
elements in
and
it.
this
It's
is
well
where
written.
people kind of will drag maybe you guys or us or whatever, but it's like, I can go, hey, look, this isn't the next coming of like Merle Haggard, but
No.
I don't mind this. And it's like, whoa, people get so offended. It's like, dude, I listen to Kygo. I listen to,
Not every painting's the Mona
I listen to
Lisa,
classical
you know?
music. I can listen to a pop country song by somebody and be like, that's a good, like Cole Swindell's like has Carolina. Like I can be like, that's a smart idea. It's
Yes.
catchy. And that's that. Like you
And
don't.
I'm never
have
gonna
a-
save it to my playlist. I'm gonna listen to it the
But
one
But
time.
but
and
we
call
can
it a
all,
day.
but everyone could call it out and like admit that there's
You don't have to get
levels to it.
personal
You
about
know
it.
what I mean? So I think it's a fun thing about the space that we're all in, because I know you all have seen it a little earlier, but something Josh and I've seen is that we can intersect with a Morgan Wallen fan base, a Zach Bryan fan base, even a Luke Bryan fan base. And we have the Blake Shelton fans in our DMs upset we don't talk about them enough, but like we have that
Yeah.
intersection. And
They're
I think
hardcore.
they clash naturally, but
And they're crazy.
they can coexist, because if they coexist, then that's just more people listening.
Luke Bryan's
to
one of
country
those guys. Is a funny. We met him just once, right, Wes, at Wrigley.
Yeah, pretty briefly at Wrigley, but
He knew us. He brought up some examples to prove that he knew us, because somebody be like, "Oh, I heard of you guys," and it's like, "You're fuck you haven't heard."
Yeah,
of
you're
us.
full of it.
But Luke was nice, and even people like who were fans and kind of social media friends with like Farston Music and these guys, like even they will be like admit. I think I've seen like Luke Bryan or Saving Country Music or some of these people, like he's so good for having like one song on an album that's so good and like traditional. Like Tailgate Blues is one that comes to mind for me from Brent Cobb.
Brent Cobb, yeah.
Back in the day, and
Yeah.
it's like we're just all like, man, like you're old. Like quit. You're old. Like you're in your 40s. Like quit singing about the shit you're singing about.
Sure.
spring
Sing about
break.
Right.
Everything is a suntan and a sunset and a sun fuck.
Of course.
And like that's what annoys me as a music fan. When I see a guy
Disingenuous.
when I see a guy promoting
Yeah.
their sobriety, which is great, like I've had addiction in my family, so like
Sure.
cool. And then you don't write the song, but you're gonna cut a song about partying and drinking, getting fucked up. Like I just don't like it. Like,
But the fans are catching up to exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like regular listeners and people you see like that will now will rip actual artists like in their own comments, which is awesome. Is they do want authentic music. They want music that they can grow with. And
why do you
I
think
think
Zach
just more than
Bryan is
ever
what he is?
they call it out.
Well, I
More
think
than
too, your point about people liking Morgan and Zach and whoever, we'll tweet out something like, and it's crazy to see lately because it's growing more and more. We'll tweet out something like, who would be your like ideal, 3-4 person show, like, and you'll see like Morgan, Tyler Childers, Zach Bryan, and like, George Strait. And
Alan
it's like,
Jackson. Yeah.
it's like a
All
weird
over
Crowd
mix.
would be
Like,
incredible.
and it's like, but there's a lot of people who love Tyler Childers and love Morgan Wallen. And like,
And people can't
we're
accept
told that those things don't work a lot. And it's not really the case. Maybe the loudest people aren't talking about that stuff, but like, you just
I mean,
ask
here's-
an old fan and they're like,
If
yeah,
we want to talk about quality, I think that's the thing, right? We have all these different sectors or sections of the genre, and like people are like, well, the reason I love Zach Bryan or say like Jason Isbell, Ryan Adams style like folk country, it's like because it's like it's this tier, it's this quality, and some people you can't utter like a popular song like Morgan Wallen in the same breath. And I think with Country Central, I mean, we do have people of all different tastes, but I mean, I just think I listen to every style. Like generally, I think I grew up on like classical stuff, like just in school and that kind of music. So I just love that type of instrumentation. And that was the only genre that had it. Country's the only one that had like those old school
Real
instruments in the background. So like I love like classic country. I think it just sounds better. So even when I can listen to a poppier song and appreciate it, that I understand why people die behind real country, so I get that. I understand the fight for that, but man, I mean, I also grew up like freaking on Nirvana and Foo Fighters and stuff like that too. So when I see certain people like Coe Wetzel having a presence, I don't call that out. I say, dude, well, it's better for just music because more people are just coming around a community that I think's, is probably popping off more than any other genre right now. So it's a cool place to be right now.
And the Post Malone stuff it was one of those eye-opening experience for us where like he always talks about country music and he's done some dabbling obviously with the Sturgill and Brad or covers, and that seems to be like, okay, like if we post Malone stories, everybody's cool with it, everybody loves it. But as soon as you post somebody that's actually in the genre who sings similar like to Post, it's now we got a problem. And like Ko Wetzel's an example of where kind of the similar style of like in your feels music, but he's admittedly like he's not country, like
no,
that's rock. He's a rock star.
He isn't claiming.
Trust me, I've never been more fucked up in my life. Like,
he's like a
the true rock star,
right?
But he's literally like the sweetest guy we've ever met, probably ever in this industry. And he's selling out 20,000 tickets like that. And Snoop Dogg's
it's not unlike what y'all do because you all are more like culture. You're like lifestyle. You've now become like culture in country music in a sense, and I feel like right now country as a brand, like if that sounds bad, like as a brand, as a culture, it's growing more in the past, I'd say 5-10 years. I'd say maybe thanks to streaming, but it's a cool thing now where you got people that aren't making country music. Like I'd say Hardy isn't making country music or Ko Wetzel isn't making country, but
because Ko does make that country album, which he promised us,
which they are bringing hopefully. I mean, but they live and breathe the lifestyle, and I think fans now like they just want someone that connects with who they are, where they're coming from, or who understands that. So I think it's a cool opportunity to pull in some awesome artists and some cool fan bases into like the whole community.
Yeah. Can I bring up something I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, Wes, but I think we've talked about this. If you had a thought, sorry. The thing that grinds my gears that we continue to do, even as we've made more money and grown, and we still kind of focus on is like independent artists. Like you're not like the other like quote unquote big country sites, they're not going to post Charles Wesley Godwin. But if I go look at my last 2 years of listening on Spotify, my number one artist is Charles Wesley Godwin. So we're going to post it. We want to meet him. We want to talk to him. It's not to be hip or cool or make money. We know we're not going to make money because he's new, he's fresh, he's independent. Yeah. Like he doesn't have, if we just sit there and regurgitate press releases, we would make more money, but we choose not to. The one thing that I like, and some of the haters, like what I always get super confused by, for an example like that of an independent artist, is I understand why they are so like, this is mine, this is my thing,
belonging,
right? Yeah. But if you truly care about that artist and that person, the one thing you should want is so that they can fucking move into a bigger house, so they can go get
right.
more acres, so they can go
play bigger.
They can go pay off their student loans. They can go buy their wife a new car.
Have you seen that meme?
They can go. No, and all of a sudden, dude, it's like, no, you motherfuckers are posting this independent artist. Fuck you guys. Yep. Fuck you. This is our guy. It's like, we're helping. And to me, one of the best things I've ever heard on a podcast was about 1 or 2 years ago, Wes, Joshua Ray Walker. He's on it. He's on, and he's so talented. And like, and he goes, dude, you guys put me on a playlist, and we just saw the pendulum go. Like his listens just went skyrocketed. And I was like, he
said 10% of his streams came from Whiskey Riff playlists.
Yeah,
and I was just like, and to hear that from a guy that talented, like that's all I need to hear. I don't need to hear the fucking noise on Twitter about you ain't doing shit. Like, you ain't doing shit. Like, we're actually helping these people. We're actually helping them buy that new car. So it's like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get, like, Luke Combs is a sellout. Zach Bryan's a sellout. Why is Zach Bryan's a sellout? Because he can sell 40,000 tickets soon.
There's a meme.
It's instant dynamic.
Sellout.
Yeah. There's a meme. It's just like
that people are wanting to hear your music. Like,
it's like there's this meme, and I forgot what the actual image was, but it's just basically like one dude going like, "Oh, yo, check out this artist," but like, like keep him on the low, and then it cuts to the artist who's just like, can't feed himself because he has a ton of fans that
Oh
just
my
keep saying,
God,
like,
please
don't
send
tell
that to
anyone
us.
about this artist. Like, don't tell it. Like, it's the gatekeeping. It's so
Country
funny.
gatekeepers are they talk a lot, but I mean, I always joke personally. Like, I mean, I listened to everything growing up, but it was literally country, like 90s, 2000s, and like rock, like alternative rock, like Blink-182 style rock, whatever you name it. I feel like rock
There you
fans
go,
are
Wes.
the worst. They were the worst. They were like the biggest gatekeepers. If you change your sound a little bit, even if it was like just
Well, now
rock,
there's
and
nothing left of the fucking genre.
you
Like,
know, and okay, so that's my whole thing. So honestly, rock, like they kind of screwed themselves over. So as a fan of country music now, like I don't want to distill country, but when I see people just bringing just good songs into the mix, like I'm cool. Like Co Wetzel, I'm okay with him being branded, whatever, because he's bringing in like at least quality music. But that prepared me for whatever we do at Country Central. Like rock fans are the worst. Even like reviewers for like what's like the really popular publication that always gives like ones and 1.0s or 1.1s. Like
Is it rock?
no, it's just like that indie publication that's like known. It's like I forget, but like I know people compared us to it, Josh, even with the way we review stuff. But I just got out of my head quickly. Pitchfork, exactly.
How are we compared to them in any way?
Someone compared me to Pitchfork the other day. I just, as a kid, I hated
you
Pitchfork.
rate stuff.
I hated reviews. I hated like,
yeah, we stopped doing
I
reviews.
mean, yeah. I mean, I wasn't a fan of people just honestly trashing artists that, well, I won't say was making good or bad music, but at an early age, I was like, hey, if I talked about music, I do want to get into why I think it's good, number one, and why if it is poor from that artist, if they're good artists or bad artists, I'll let you know. So it's something that we've been able to have fun with Country Central stuff, where if we do give something a 1 or if we give it a 10, I do like to point out why. I mean, I think there's a reason. If it's a 10, I know for people, like you can't give anything a 10, but it's something I think if it's a 10 by an artist that's well known, then I'm like, you better listen to it. So there's ways we can rank it, but it's just one of those things where it's social media, it's an opinion. And like you said, someone's gonna rip you if you give Zach Bryan a 9 in the same week Kane Brown releases an album because maybe they're a popular country fan, you know? So we hear everything. We've heard people say Kane Brown's rated too low, too high, everything in between, and it's good. I think it's all feedback for the community, for the genre. I say I welcome it at this point.
You guys kind of leave a lot of the discussion in a sense to the fans, but like, who do you both like really dig? Like, who is like your like top 5 and kind of, I know Josh, you're a little bit
Top
newer
5's
to
a lot,
genre.
Wes.
Top 3, I don't know, like who, just some of the
Gosh.
girls that you like really dig.
If we could say top 5 for me, like past like year, I'm really deep into like Appalachian stuff because I spend a lot of time I have a place in southern North Carolina, so I do a lot of hiking up there. So I love the music that comes out. I've been on a Cole Chaney binge. I've been on specifically Nicholas Jamerson's solo work.
Yeah.
I'm also with you, Steve, like Charles Wesley Godwin. I think I've listened through How the Mighty Fall like 1,000 times this year already.
Yeah, that was our
When I go to the
album.
gym, when I'm on my way to the gym, I put on Strong full blast, and I'm just like,
Dude, Temporary Towns is in between running sprint sets for me. Definitely Zach Bryan a lot too. You can't ignore his music now. There's so much of it. There's 44 songs this year. And then let me think. Probably Childers, and I've been trying to get more into Sierra Farrell. So
Cool.
I don't really like contemporary.
That's good. It's good. I mean, I think Josh gets to he does enjoy all different genres, and we get to appeal to those people, which I think is.
I come from a hip hop
badass.
setting too. Like I didn't listen to country music before 2020.
Oh yeah, some of our most viral posts at the beginning were about like burnt CDs and all these. When we were just an Instagram account, like
right,
social media. It was.
We all start as Instagram accounts, don't we?
I'll start somewhere.
Honestly, no, it was. I remember tweeting something too. It was like totally 100% accurate though. It was like I remember being 15 or 16, getting my piece of shit car, getting my license, burning a CD, and it was legitimately Brooks and Dunn, Nelly, Alan Jackson, 50 Cent, and then it was just boom, 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 Eminem, and then back to
y'all are in like way older than me, generation.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, this is where we grew up. All right.
I think I was a freshman I was a freshman in high school. I think when 50 Cent's album came, his His first album.
I
I was like
50
7.
Cent.
Like I didn't even know what
Cool.
that beef was about.
But you missed out
34,
on
not
G,
that fucking
you missed out on G Unit, all right. So you missed out
I
on
did
some of
miss
the
out on
best.
G Unit.
the
I
best
missed out on
groups.
the Kanye 50 beef.
The
for,
Roof on Fire by Lloyd Banks. Come
The
on.
early
Lloyd,
Con-
Love that
the fact that you
fucking-
missed out on
Lloyd
Lloyd Banks
Banks.
alone.
the
Lloyd Banks
early
alone.
Kanye stuff was incredible to me. I watched
Through
that
the
documentary
Wire.
recently, and
Come on.
man,
And then the song you did with what's his face from Coldplay about Chicago, that was an amazing.
Yeah.
Song.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was on graduation.
Yeah, coming home. That was
Yeah,
good
we're-
too.
Oh, Coming Home, yeah.
No, Yeezus is my favorite album by him. That's I love that type of hardcore.
But yeah, I appreciate a lot of it. Like what I hate is at the end of the year, this is a good tool for us to kind of like, hey, we want to share like the breakdown of Spotify or whatever, but it's kind of weird
Yeah.
because it's like we're all on our personal accounts. Like mine is like completely fucked up because I listen to like weird like meditation Tibetan monk music when I'm working.
You're like a business owner. You gotta like relax.
I'm trying to bring the stress levels down.
Oh, what, like your Spotify rap stuff?
yeah,
Oh
it's
my
all
God,
fucked
it's
up.
like-
Oh yeah, we posted that
Italian-
last.
It's like Italian. I have like Italian composers from 1930
that play all night
as,
when
like,
you're
number,
sleeping.
as like my top artist, and then it's like number 7 is Charles Wilson God because it's all like
My number
made
one
a
is
most
gonna
of the
separate
be
music
account.
has
now.
no. Most of the music has no words. It's just like noise. It's
my
like
number one's gonna
white
be
noise.
10 hours of rain that I play every single
Oh.
night when I listen.
Wait till you have
to
a kid one day.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
my
Lord.
my year-end rap after we had my son like was all like fan noise,
white
white
noise.
We got
Baby
like the
Shark.
Country Central account. It's gonna be like Baby Shark or something. Just like the new
Oh,
iteration
don't
of
even
Baby
bring
Shark.
that fucking.
Oh,
we
how do you
shared
not?
we shared our Spotify raps last year.
How do you
and
know-
it was funny because like
How does Benji
Ben
know
was
Baby Shark? You have.
Oh
a
no,
kid?
no kids. I'm just saying like it's gonna be an iteration that will come about.
he
and it's
just
gonna
he
be
just
from the hub.
traumatized Steve. No, we did Spotify
We had a
raps last
toy
year.
that wouldn't stop fucking flapping. It was like in the backyard. I heard it upstairs in the bedroom, and I was like, it was like in a water bin. It was like. It was
Taking
like
notes, man.
it only did it if it was in water, and we left it in the water by mistake. And Baby Shark.
That's what we have to wait. That's what we have to look forward to, Josh.
Why don't you just throw it away?
It wasn't about
pay
throwing it
for it.
away. It was more so about like not. Like you can't throw. What do you fucking throw it away? Like the kid's gonna wake up and ask where the hell it is.
Exactly. He's got to explain a whole backstory to
You just
it.
put
I
my
mean,
brain in a
more-
pretzel. I was like,
He's like, wait, could I do that?
adulting, just adulting.
he ran
more
out of
work.
bubble. We bought him a lawnmower to trick him that does bubbles this week, and he ran out of the bubble thing. And we're like, oh, it's okay, just go like without the bubbles. He's like, no. I was like, so we try to like
more bubbles.
shift it, put like soap water in it, thinking it would work, and it didn't.
It's not the same. It doesn't hit the same.
And then it's just like a fucking meltdown. You're just like,
Get more bubbles.
You just
Country
numb to it
music
at
in
this
real
point.
life, dude. With the dose of real life.
We're
That's
talking
Yeah,
about
no,
kids.
I'm taking
no.
notes.
when people sing about that shit about like raising a kid and stuff.
Okay, so does it finally connects with you now when you hear? Okay, so when you hear stereotypical radio song that's like "There Goes My Life" Part 2 or Part 20, can you still connect to it though? Now that you've gone through life,
Yeah, no, I go
can it
back to those
connect now,
songs
even if
more
it's
now.
generic though? You know,
Yeah, I personally do. You probably do, Wes, right? Like those songs about like, isn't that a Trace Atkins song about?
country's good about that, man.
They're
Even
like
if it's
the video, his daughter's.
You're
going
gonna
to
miss this.
college.
You're gonna miss.
I'm
this.
thinking Kenny. I know Kenny Chesney. There Goes My Life. He has.
Yeah,
I
you're gonna
forget
miss
which actress was. It's like a famous actress. I forget what her name.
Amber
is. She
Heard.
was like Amber Heard was his daughter in that music video,
Yeah,
and she's
Totally
like going
normal.
off to college
Totally
or
normal.
whatnot.
but that's like
a.
There Goes My
The
Life
shit
is
on
like
those.
a teenage pregnancy, like I'm fucked video, not a.
But it was
Me-
still like, but it was still like, oh, I am so happy I had family at the end of the
Yeah,
day. So it's always like
yeah.
it's reflective, you know. And I feel like every country song, even if it's from an artist, like dude, like Dylan Scott's gonna put out a sentimental song that I will never listen to like in my playlist, but I'll hear it and I'll be like, okay, like I get it. I get why people
Didn't
like it.
Grady put him on blast recently because he's like, this song sounds just like.
It's Cover Me Up.
It's
That's what I put- I put
It's
it in my
literally
review. I put
the
it in my
exact
review.
same chord.
I texted Wes.
progression.
I texted Wes a little like loopy. I think it was the morning after a podcast. So I was like, Wes, what am I missing here? I needed the boost, like, and Wes was like, "Pour me up." I was, oh no, yeah, of course. Like
you're allowed to do that like 10 years or 5 years apart, but like you don't ape the old school song that close to when it's like already been
Well,
done.
do you know one of the weirdest, most insignificant, I don't give a shit about beefs that we had on Twitter, not even with us, was like Scotty McCreery and Granger Smith with that George Strait song.
Oh yeah.
They actually beefed. I thought it was just like I thought they were just social media managers running their accounts at that
But
point.
no, like, I'm like, I remember one day I was like, I don't even care about either song. I don't want to listen to it. So I remember slacking Wes, and I was like, "Are they the same? What's going on?" And Wes, you were just like, "They're not the same song."
It's the same concept.
Just both
Concept,
very.
which if you're gonna go
Same
off the
title.
concept with these people that try to like rip our shit and you rip your shit, it's like we'd be suing everybody left and right all day long. It's like I don't know how that works in Nashville, but like,
Right. There's
So
only
the
so
one,
many.
I'll tell y'all
people
a quick
clearly
story. So Dierks Bentley song, his single he did with Hardy, "Beers on Me" and Breland, like basic song, not a good song by any means, right?
Catchy,
And I think he had another single before
I kind of
that.
like that one.
Gone, right? Gone. That went #1 as well. Like
I
literally,
like his new one the most in the last like 5 years from him.
so much better, right? But like the whole story with those two singles, back-to-back #1s, is that they're the same song. Literally, like the chorus of like I've been gone, like, and come on down, like it's the same cadence. And literally, like I think Hardy wrote that with Dierks and some other writers who wrote "Beers on Me." They had to credit Nico Moon, who was a writer on Gone, and like a bunch of other writers because it's the same song. So it's kind of, "Beers on Me" has like the longest. There's like 12 writers attached to it because they kind of rewrote a song on accident. That was literally Dirks's prior #1 hit to that song. It's crazy.
And that happens kind of often-ish in music all
I'd
across
say.
all genres. But like that happened with
Exactly.
Kane Brown and Florida Georgia Line, where they ended up crediting Kane on something because it was
Short
like,
skirt weather for "I Love My Country." I
yeah,
believe.
it's like the same damn
That's
melody.
funny.
And it's like,
The Nico Moon stuff, that shit, like, don't even get me fucking started. Like
Dude,
that
Nico
might be
Moon,
like
he's collecting. He has to collect his gold, man. Because the solo career, we don't know, but he's got to get his writing credit.
man, I don't want to get into people's personal Instagram accounts, but
You're good. You're good.
like what happened, like he's like, you're just like, Jesus Christ, when you open one of his fucking posts and then you go back 3 years, it's like an act. Like this whole like I think Grady is like the smile, the smile, the teeth, like, oh my God, like Jesus Christ, I'm gonna fucking fall on my chair. Go back,
It's
like
called
2
branding
years.
without an audience.
Go
Subliminal
back 2 years.
branding.
Go back 2 years when he was like, nobody knew who he was. And he's like normal. He's like talking normal. It's not this like weird like
Rasp.
look. This facade. He's just like,
Interesting.
and him and his wife are like cooking. I'm like, oh,
got into the
like
TikTok world and before TikTok.
You know,
I-
you go
like,
to your
I just,
coach,
like,
they'll get you going.
that's you want to talk about like the most like brain dead fucking music, dude. Like stuff that's just like every word is like, got my drink in my hand and I'm fucking chilling and I'm chilling and I'm chilling.
Life
Like,
is good. I'm happy.
we've had superstar, multiple #1 artists tell Wes and I like, oh, you guys are creative, like write with us. Like, and
Y'all may be able
Wes
to
and I
come
were
up
like,
with
at one
some.
point we were just
like, should we try it?
this shit seems so easy, but I don't want to put my name on a song that's just like, I got my dog, I got like, I got my joint, and I'm just like walking around the block.
It
at
will
night,
sound like
just when
that. It's
my
the whole
baby's going to
thing.
sleep. But it's like, oh man, some of
That's
that
been an
stuff, it's
idea
like,
though. That's been an idea. Like day in the life. Like let's just get a camera in a writing room one of these days, and I think fans would be able to appreciate the fact that either some terrible songs are written with that many people, or some good songs.
we just
like,
had
it's actually tough.
We just had Randall King on yesterday.
Oh, he aped one of my graphics once. He
He
didn't
did?
credit me.
He doesn't manage.
He doesn't
graphics,
know
let's be
how to
real.
use it. I'm not mad about
isn't
it.
doing a damn
I'm a
thing.
big fan of that. How he kind of approaches his like sound and how he kind of like skirts that line with like being natural but not.
yeah.
He does it well.
I lost my train of thought. Too many
We were
beers.
talking
Just
about
had Randall
he was
King.
writing with somebody who was trying to write a novel.
Oh, yeah, that story was. you want to take over?
He was just like, I sat down with a guy in an office, you know how they do it sometimes, and was just like, never met the guy. And he's like, we got to write a number one. And he had this whole idea that he wanted to do, like, I forget what the song was called. And he's like, I had this idea, this vision, and I pitched it to the guy, and he was like, cool. And then, you know, the beat starts changing, the melody starts changing. And he's like, this is, if you want to write a hit, we can write a hit, but we're not changing this song that I had in my mind.
And he's like, I want to sound like Keith Whitley. And this guy turned it into like a
of course. Got the,
and he's like, so I just told him, I go, fuck it, I'm gonna just pocket this. He recorded it. I forgot what song it was. He actually
okay. Yeah. Look at that. So I mean, I think the most interesting thing about Nashville is the fact that you could have someone be like that surgical with like their job and be like, we have to write a hit. And then you have that authentic artist like that's not going to work. But then it's so beautiful when people do go in as not complete strangers, but they're able to make these great songs. So I'm always curious, like, how do we find that intersection where, I don't know, there is the corporate part of it because they have to make a living writing these type of songs, but also they are coming up with good quality writing. That's why I appreciate the Hardys of the world that may not be totally country, but I think you could, if you interview Hardy, I mean, he said, like, when you ask him what's your favorite current country song, like, he laughs because he doesn't want to admit what he doesn't want to say he's listening to any of the stuff that's on the radio. So that just tells you that he does it as a living, but they make sure there's more to it. There's more craft to it. There's more cleverness with it, or more alliteration, whatever it is. Just how do you make radio friendly stuff like a little more creative, like, or stick around a little
but it's like
longer,
Muscadine and Blowlines of the world, and it's like you don't need it. Like,
true,
you don't need it.
They can still be catchy and fun without it. True.
Tyler's never been on the radio. Zach's barely on the radio, maybe in a few stations.
Because it's, as much as you want to say like, oh, you get on radio, you know, everything becomes more lucrative, the label and all this. It's like, but no, it's like a pie chart, man. You start getting percentages taken out, boom, 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 boom.
Especially when there's 12
you have
writers
artists that we know,
right?
We have
all of a sudden that royalty goes to shit when there's 12
friends with artists that from day one, people that we posted more about than anybody has, like a Kip Moore, where I feel like, you know, like I'm like, man, release this, and maybe he gets in his head more. I'll scrap the album. I'm gonna go do this, and like he's like a perfectionist in that way. And it's like, and it's like you want to just be able to like kind of like just do it and like see what happens. And if it doesn't work, who gives a fuck? I'm just gonna release another album. Fuck it, that didn't work. I'm gonna release another. No, when you're in the thing, that's not how it works. Like you can't just fly off the like. But
you've interviewed guys like this, like Parker's of the world. So I know not everyone can accomplish or have a co-career or Parker career, but man, like they came to the negotiating table like at a position of strength where like
Cody Johnson is a big one.
Yeah, where they're like, I don't know what Parker's deal entailed, but like I feel like he's able to put out truly.
Cody Johnson really had that rig, right, Wes?
Yeah.
Cody Johnson was like a co-label.
He's like, I am not giving you guys any creative control.
So when he has a song that hits, it's going to be massive. But maybe I think with Parker at least too, like he's going to get a couple of hits. I don't know if it's going to be endless, but enough to have a full-fledged career where he knows he can dominate, you know, the South and all that. And then now he can go nationwide with some radio hits. So I just wish, I feel like someone like Kip, he kind of got in that machine early on, but I feel like if he was without a label today, he'd be still selling out his current venues. You know what I mean? And I think that's an enviable position. I think his theater, like he has
real fans,
big theaters, like mid-size arenas. Like he could do like tours and sell out every time.
Theater here in Denver last night.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's got real.
It's a great career. You know, I know some artists they want more. You know, they're artists. They want the most. They want everything. But I don't know, man. I think that's a damn good career.
One of our most viral posts of all time, literally. I think video wise, also when I put on reels. Then also just the article was Cody Jinks when he was at Red Rocks, no, he was at Nashville. He was in Nashville, and he's like, we said, "Fuck Nashville, we'll start our own goddamn club." And it was like, whoa! It was like a wake up call to everybody, right? And like when he called out Sam Hunt redoing that
Webb Pierce sample.
The Webb.
On his single, okay.
Yeah.
There comes
when he said, "I'm sitting in the dentist," he was like, something. He posted some Facebook message where he's like, "I'm sitting in the dentist office, and I just heard this." He goes like, like this is the worst. Like he was like so offended that he like you take this old school classic song, you like sampled it for like some like hip hop, like whatever. And we posted the article, and like it was funny to see who unfollowed us off of Instagram.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
funny.
And all you did was
know?
post about it. All you did was post about
I mean,
it. So
Who-
it's
who
funny.
unfollowed
You would
you?
expect the inner circle, like you would expect, like so it's funny that, but guess what? Everybody fucking loved that article. Everybody loved what he said, his likes and all this stuff. And
Sure.
you know, you go, you know, there's always gonna be that, right? Like
It's the nature of the beast, right? Like naturally, it's
a little bit of
creative.
that, so-
Y'all are being creative. Like you're literally just, I mean, you're sharing what someone wrote about or gave his opinion, but you're not saying, I mean, we all have our opinions on Sam Hunt, where we like what he does or not, but you're not actively saying he's terrible. But you know how people's brains work. They just see the article.
What we'll do is be like, 2016, is that the song?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
a country song. We're like, man, it'd be kind of cool to see if he put a whole album out like
Oh
this.
yeah.
We'll say that, and then, but
here's our-
you know,
yeah.
that's one song out of 12, and you're just like, whatever, it's over.
That's what I try to do with Kane Brown. I mean, like, there's something I tell Josh, maybe it's unrealistic. I mean, there's something I can enjoy off of every album. There's something I can, maybe it's not on my year-end playlist or anything, but I'll look for it, man. I'll try to find something. So, I mean, Kane Brown, there's something on there was okay. I mean, I gave it a decent review, you know,
Something
but like,
on there.
I want people to know like that as fans, like we are either one extreme or another. I'm like, hey, like, and also something I like to spotlight who wrote the song. Sometimes that gives people a different outlook. You know, I think it's fun to remind people like some of the songs, like Hardy's a writer like by trade. So I'm like, some of the songs he's been a part of that Josh and I will come across, right, man. Some of these are rough songs. Yeah, these are like some of these
Chris
radio.
Stapleton, once you wrote that article.
Bradley,
Jamie
country
Johnson
songs, you know,
wrote
so-
what Honky Tonk Badonk Donk. Jamie Johnson
Right.
wrote the Swing Better
Stapleton
Better
wrote
song, or
Crash and Burn by Thomas Rhett.
yeah.
Your Man by Josh Turner. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to like the more people learn about that, I think they just, like, to your point, they actually want artists to succeed. So I guess on an indie standpoint, people do get upset when you're blowing up their favorite artists. But I think when we tell people, like, some people don't know how like the sauce is made, for better or for worse, like in
A lot of people
Nashville
don't.
or otherwise, you know what I mean? So some people are only learning about the out like subgenres of it, but like I like exposing, like, hey, this is what it looks like inside Nashville. Some of these writers want to be artists. Maybe you can support them if you don't want them wasting their great songs on someone you don't even like as a mainstream artist, you know? So I think fans have a bigger place to play nowadays, you know, with social media.
I feel like we're so jaded now too, Wes and I, for doing this for so long. Like some guy covered, Wes, I don't know if we put this on the playlist, but it came on my release radar today. Some guy covered Forever and Always by Shania Twain. I actually think it's a really good cover. Jared Morris. I don't know who the guy is.
Sure.
I don't think I put
but-
it in there. I might have missed it.
And I go, wait a minute, is this the guy that just did the George Strait thing that went viral on TikTok?
David Morris.
Thank
was
you for
like-
calling it Jared Morris. Thank you, Jared.
You know, I was like, you know, I'm driving though. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, this guy sounds more like a singer-songwriter type.
David Morris.
Covered it, and he did a really good job. It's super stripped down, like almost no instrumentation. I was like, man, I dig this. And I meant to send it to our Slack channel. We were talking about the Core Wetzel album today. I forgot to, but like, yeah, like it's
But
tough.
she's
Like,
making a song with Kid G. I don't know if I can listen to this, dude.
what's that?
He's posting he's making a song with Kid G. I don't know if I can listen to David Morris.
Oh, really?
But
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree with you. Yes, you never know. I think you never know who could.
That's my
surprise you.
point.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, David Morris, he followed me on Instagram after I wrote an article about how he should apologize to George Strait. I think he was just
man.
like,
He just wants to have a conversation with you, man. He'll tell you in a lot of words that he appreciates that you talk about him at all. You know
But
what
you
I mean?
spoke to him?
I didn't.
No, Ben.
No. I'm saying that's
Oh,
how
okay.
that's how the conversation would go. The guy's just gonna say it in as many words as possible that you're
I just
talking
have a
about. him,
hard
he
time
appreciates.
when we talk about authenticity and like inauthentic, like being inauthentic, or it's like I don't like. Like you're not a rapper. Yeah, you're not Eminem. Like, so you're trying to hit these TikTok algorithms.
Yeah, I have a hard
That's
time
very
with that, too.
obvious when you're trying to do it and pull the levers and like do the thing. And sampled something. And,
Surprised
like,
you didn't
make
say
it
like
into
Warren
something, and-
Zeider's social media promotion style.
Oh my
Well,
god.
There's an art to it, and I'm curious to hear y'all's take on it though, because for every person that's talented on TikTok, I'm curious though, because you can make money and you can make a probably decent career even if you own what you're making music wise, if you're talented enough to do it. But I am curious to see how many can take it from just some small tours, a record deal, or some sort to actual career. Because I'm seeing some TikTok people make like better money than some people getting signed, but I don't think they can fill rooms out.
I think
even if they're making more money today.
Well, and I think that's the thing, really quick. Like, I think TikTok is a really cool tool to get discovered as a musician. Like, obviously, it's like a discovery platform. It's built on discovery. The whole point of it is to be discovered. But as soon as you start trying to do the algorithm a la Warren Zeiders, it's not about the art anymore. It's not about the music anymore. It's like, do y'all want to see this? Like it in the comment. Like, it's like a bunch of bullshit. Like,
Oh, I make fun of it in the Instagram comments all the time.
and then,
like,
I mean, his stuff is like next level, but like, it's like at that point, it's like you're not trying to be an artist. You're not
What
trying to be a
stuff is
musician.
next level?
His
Warren's
image, not the
like
music.
pouring whiskey on his
image.
fucking head in the shower type bullshit.
The
like-
shower video, I was like, did you lose your fantasy football league? Like, what is this?
That would make the story more compelling if he like
Listen, the
his whole
negative
marketing
comments boost
scheme.
the algorithm. And plus, the thing about TikTok, I don't know if how much you guys know about like social media engagement and numbers and analytics, like stuff
Quite a
like that.
bit.
But
They
like,
know something.
so you guys definitely know. So like, in order to get someone to go from TikTok to Spotify, it is Apple Music and go listen to an artist. It's like the hardest app because most people spend an average of 40 minutes on that app without leaving. So you have to be really weird or bizarre to get someone to leave the app. So like, that's what they're trying to tap into, but I fully
The
understand
David
where it's like,
Morris.
at what point are you just trying to make a viral sound? And at what point are you trying to sell songs and sell
Yeah.
out actual like venues?
And then the authenticity part of it, I think, is what like a lot of fans are waking up to. And it's like you start to see through the bullshit a little bit more, maybe because there's more like exposure, there's more platforms, there's more whatever. And it's like, why are you singing with an accent you don't have? You're from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dude, the
Right?
last video he put up, oh my god, that's like, all right, this is a set. This isn't. I know for like, there's no lighting like this that exists in the real world.
But,
You're outside.
but y'all bring up a really good point though, just about TikTok is this amazing discovery tool. But literally, like, I mean, some people could be like classically trained musicians, like actually incredibly talented. Some could be like actors, like have like theater, experience in the past, so they're good at the TikTok game and they can sing maybe, but they're not like a true artist. So I think that's what we're seeing right now. Where Nashville's scooping up all these like talented people. I won't say they're artists, but like I said, they may be more theater oriented or just like musically inclined. So you may see people that just aren't entertainers, maybe, or people that can only entertain, but they can't write.
Yeah,
anything.
watch the first time they do a live show. And
That's what I'm saying.
Is.
So it's
Yeah.
it's the only unfortunate part of business in general, and then the bubble of music is the fact that they're scooping these people up and they want it to be carbon copied, and you're gonna get these terrible songs.
You're also
what I mean?
getting people. I think if you're a label or you're an A&R person and you're ripping through TikTok trying to find people, you're probably going to grab a bunch of people who are impressionable, easily manipulated, don't have a good sense of identity.
That's what
don't
they
have
think
a good
covers are
sense-
real songs. Like
and then it's
TikTok.
like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do 5 videos a day. And
Yep.
then they're like, okay. And then 2 years later, they're like, what the fuck happened? And maybe they're a good singer, maybe they're a good songwriter.
Yeah.
And it's like, you were never going to know.
the
'cause now
whole
you're a
singer
clown.
thing is, that's what kind of bothers me. It's like it becomes this like formulated like lab experiment. Like,
That's what I don't like. Yep.
well, it's like I can go to the high school down the street here where I live in Colorado and go to the choir class one day, pick out a kid that has a little bit of a deeper voice and go
Play his country song.
covering
Sing
this
it.
George
Yeah.
Strait song, and he's gonna sound great probably.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated. Like that part of it is one like that should be the part that's championed. It's not. It's like it turns into am I gonna have a belt buckle? Am I gonna wear a Wrangler? Am I gonna put a hat on him? Do I want to kind of have the George Strait vibe? Do I want to have a little more of the white tee, black jeans vibe? Do I want to have it just becomes this other thing.
And I want to tread it carefully because, like, I do think country is for everybody, but there's a point to be made that I think there's something corporate where you do scoop up a talented person. And country, to me, like, old school songs sound good. Like, they're good songs. I feel like you could just get someone that's not even caring about country music, that's a good, talented singer to sing these songs and be like, you could make money doing this, and they'll do it. And I swear there's people in Nashville that are like this, that aren't bad people, but they're just talented and they've been told or they've learned that they could sing this stuff
money
really
making
well.
business. It's just
but fans can see through it, and I think there's something we should rightfully call that out when you do get these people that are great performers, but you could tell they don't care about anything that they're singing or they don't write a part of it. And if they're putting out stuff that is contemporary and like not good quality, I think people should call it out. So like there's a part too where I'm happy that fans have a bigger voice. And then there's parts of it where it's hilarious when fans like trash artists that literally are the real person behind the phone. That's always the funniest thing Josh and I say, because like we'll be like, they just ripped Thomas Rhett, and like he commented on one of our posts. And as soon as he did, I think one of the guys like switched up so quick because like he responded to him.
Ooh, that happens with Ernest a lot.
Hilarious,
That's so
hilarious
funny.
stuff.
We did a review of his album, and like he only came in and responded to negative comments about him. And it's so funny to see people switch up so quick. Like, oh my God, they're actually real people that I'm interacting with. Let me pretend to be nice now. But yeah, especially with Thomas Rhett, like I think we gave him worst song of the year last year.
It was nominated. It was nominated for best and worst. He commented like amazing. He was like such a good sport about it, and like those are the people that we
surprisingly as well. Breland was really a good sport about us giving him like a 4 on a song. He's like, damn, I'm gonna hope to get that 10 next time or something like that. But it was like he's positive.
He's also just an interesting character in my opinion. I think he wants to make it, so he's gonna navigate, deal with who dislikes him and whatnot. But he commented on us too.
Our worst song, we do a post at the end of the year, 3 worst songs of the year. I pulled it up just now real quick. We asked like the fans. So the fan voted was Fancy Like by Walker Hayes. Our number 3 was One Mississippi by Kane Brown. Our number 2 was New Truck by Florida Georgia Line.
Ooh, that was a good one. Number 1.
And then Where the Country Girls At with Trace Atkins, Luke Bryan, and Pitbull was number 1.
I voted that one for ours.
Yeah.
You did vote that one. The funny thing is that we had a kid on our team that voted for TR, not the Redneck Be Like song, but like Slow Down Summer, like his actual radio single. So that's what got his attention, which was hilarious, but it was perfect because we nominated one of his actual decent songs for like one of the top singles. So it draws attention, but it gets people talking, and we talk about quality, and then the artists get involved with the quality talk too. Well, when I saw Ernest talk about on Grady Smith's post about FGL, that was pretty cool and refreshing, I think, for fans to be like, hey, here's what I don't like about them, but I don't know, like it's always a profession to see artists or just fans too. So that's a cool thing about just Whiskey Riff, about social media, about what we're doing with Country Central. Man, we're interacting with these people every day. We're seeing the good and bad of the industry to an extent, but at the end of the day, it's organic, it's real. There's a reason y'all have been so successful. I mean, it's just like real people gravitating towards like, hopefully hearing artists like Zach Bryan more or Charles Wesley Godwin, where they haven't had that. And I think it's cool that we're able to do the same thing. We're able to talk to those kind of fans at the same time as Luke Combs fans and even Luke Bryan fans. It's just, I don't think you could have said that for country like 15 years ago.
If you guys were like, thinking of it, like we did a post a while back about kind of just like stock picks, kind of like if you were investing in country music, like who's a big, like who's a gainer, who's falling, like who are some of your artists that are kind of like, oh, I would get in on this early, be an early investor, and somebody who's not very like well known, that kind of you might think like, oh, this person has the potential. Not talking about like a Zach who's already blown up, like somebody before that.
That's good. This is a good one, Josh. Who do you think?
Actually wrote that down. If you've watched Charles's social media stats, general Spotify monthly listeners, that Zach Bryan tour that he opened for did an insane amount for him and his image. He's doubled his Instagram following, more than doubled it in like 8 months. I think people are starting to become a lot more aware to it, especially the collaboration on that song. So I'd say he's like one project away from breaking into the lower end of the mains. Because I mean, like I get a lot on those Hot Take Tuesday things. I get a lot of people talking about either his songs, him in general, or how smart of a decision it was to open for Zach on his upcoming tour. So I'd say him, or Cole Chaney is my sleeper hit because I think Cole's coming up as well.
Charles,
I would
too.
do Charles.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I
go
was just
ahead,
gonna
man.
say for me it's more mainstream, but Dylan Marlowe, he's someone Josh and I hung out with a bit, and the reason for me is when we interviewed him and we were like, oh hey, like you wrote that John Party single, like he was like kind of like I wanted that for me, and it was just really cool to hear or refreshing to hear someone be like, yeah, I love that song's gonna go number one, but I'm so curious how it would have done for me. And we know, I mean, he's not John Party, but it's cool to see the confidence early on, and like he's a talented writer and he makes stuff, you know, that younger people I know could get into. So just don't be surprised if you're seeing him on some of these like more the, you know, pop country tours and whatnot. But he's a guy that you'll be seeing more of.
Yeah, I mean, from like I keep talking about Godwin, but to me, like part of him too is like I hate to even because people like you guys call your like we've had a couple of tweets over the years like you guys call yourself journalists. No, never once have said that.
No, not on. Have no desire to be.
But it's like, you know, like the likability factor matters in my opinion, you know, and then you know, we had Charles on and he's talking about like Zach Bryan. He goes, my dad would talk about the Beatles, seeing them live. And he goes, the way my dad described that and what I saw with Zach's fans, he goes, it's the Beatles. And then Saving Country Music wrote an article based off that podcast we did. And so for me, like that's like the likability factor. I don't know how much that skews my like, I'm like, this is such a good family man and like a guy that seems to care and like the craft and all that stuff. Zach Bryan's obviously amazing, but yeah, I mean, it's hard not to. Cole Chaney is great too. Like we've posted a lot of him, right, on the podcast or on the playlist recently. But for me, it's like Godwin is like my guy lately. The last couple of years, I really hope that like if I got a text from Nashville artists that are like legit, like big, and which I will, and they ask like, hey, like who should I like without hesitation, that's kind of the name I go to. And then I don't know, like I kind of laugh at the like thinking about their brains after we get off the tech, like after they're like sitting on their bus and they start listening to it, are they like, oh shit, I can't write like this, or I don't.
It's all solo. It's all solo rights too.
Yeah, and it's like chase some weird sound or chase some weird thing and whatever, and like you're still chasing and chasing and chasing. And as soon as you try to get something, what did we hear from Randall yesterday, Wes? It was like
as soon as you start chasing, you're already behind.
So you're already behind.
You're not going to catch what you're chasing.
You're already behind. Like as soon as you try to match that single, there's already like a wave going. Like no, like go your own way. And I don't know that. So I don't know. As I gotten older too, it's just I like to listen to the real deal guys that I know are it's their thing.
I listen to Sorry for the Wait, I think every day. Especially for the part where he's like, it's amazing how your voice echoes through the mine, and then like there's just a light little echo effect in there. It's like it's just so layered. There's just so many intricacies. So I'm on the CWG train right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys listen to Ian Know at all?
To Ian.
Ian Know, NOE.
I've heard of the name.
Now we covered one of his releases a couple of months ago. We have him on our new release.
He's a Appalachia boy too, who's another one that you'd probably like a lot. Just like
Drayden Farley.
Drayden Farley. He's
from
from Alabama, but somehow it's kind of
yeah. I mean, for me, it doesn't. Yeah. For some reason, the voice, the sound, it plays.
We'll have songs on our playlist though, like what Wes and the team will put together. And I'm like, I don't even know like the name at all. And I'm like, this is a great song.
Yeah.
It's happening, right? Josh, you add something, you add just songs now where you've never heard it, even the artist before. So sometimes it's a pleasant surprise, sometimes not so much.
More than likely, it's not pleasant surprise.
But now
I had to remove some.
Corey Hunt and the Wise, Wes. I sent you this a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
No idea
Been
who this is, but they have a
listening
song
to-
called "Man in the Moon," and I'm like, a good song. It's kind of more that like Mumford and Sonsy, like that's kind of my vibe. Like when I get that, like
You'd like
upbeat thing.
Wyatt Flores if you haven't heard of him. He just
Okay,
dropped an
cool.
EP. It's like 4 songs, I think. Please Don't Go is great, but then he's got like Traveling Kid or something. It's got like 200,000 streams on Spotify, so it's kind of blowing up because he's like, it's like a duet with some girl, or she just like harmonizes. But his is I like that style a lot too. It's very Mumford.
Have you heard of this guy Wheeler Walker Jr.?
Who's that?
Yeah, dude.
The Pussycat.
Man, that's the first country
music-
artist I've ever heard because my friends would play it
Classic.
when we were drunk at like
Just
in
as just for
college.
fun.
They play while we were drunk in college. So back in like 2018, 2019, like they just
dig
like
you,
go on
man.
YouTube and play those
I think
videos.
it's so brilliant. My favorite song probably of all time by him is "She's a Country Music
Yeah.
Fan,"
Beautiful.
and it's the only song he's released that's not rated explicit because of the way they probably wrote the lyrics and submitted them.
Oh my god.
So she's
I got yelled at for putting
So,
one of his songs on
I
the
put that on.
playlist.
I'm cooking on a Saturday.
I remember
kinda
someone said-
side-eyeing- I'm side-eyeing my wife to see like when she's gonna notice what song's playing or when she's gonna pick up on the lyrics. And I'm like, dude,
I remember
like,
the
by the second
comments,
verse.
Josh, when like you put the like from the Wheeler Walker's latest album, you put down a playlist. Like some dad comments said like, "Hey, was happy. I was listening through the playlist. This
No, they
morning with my
DM me
son."
directly.
Like
I
with
think
my
I sent that
son,
to you, Wes.
Yeah, like my son was sitting next to me, and like
you did.
that song came up next, and like
It's
he's
like, you should
and I
be
wasn't
sick.
happy.
You should be. You're a sick person for putting that on. And all I said was like, "Ruh-roh."
Yeah,
Just like no,
yeah,
no
you did
planning.
send that to me. I remember that.
Oh man, so that's been interesting to see. But yeah, we throw everything out there. Every style of country's in there. Every fan can listen. And the cool thing is too, what we're discovering is all the publishers want you to get get feelers out for all their artists every single week. But in the past, like I was like a scavenger hunt. You know, I was finding every single release just from however I could source wise.
Eventually, they start coming to you, and that's real.
But
nice.
to now, but to now it's like we don't.
And
wanna,
I've started blocking some of.
But
the
also to
publicists
Josh's
now.
point, we can't post every song. Some of these like it's gonna screw up the playlist. Let's be honest. So we leave some people off.
We really find, or I could give Wes and Shelby and some of our
Yes.
other people credit for really fine tuning. Like
It's
want
not
it to be
selective. It's selective. It should be selective.
Yeah, like you should be excited if it happens, not expecting it.
And that's where it's at almost, but
That's the next step.
But we didn't plan it. Now it's like selective just by design. Like where it's
I know we're reaching that step because I'm blocking publicists now because I'm
Oh,
tired of them.
my favorite thing to do Friday morning when I wake up
archive.
is I just start unsubscribing from emails.
Man, I've been
Fuck
set up for
off.
so many of these like
I gotta take a
other
quick pee. You guys
that-
keep chatting.
Oh, you're good.
that thing. Whoever said it was like when you take like when you're chasing a single. I think Randall
King
King
said that. We've
Yeah,
had
there's
others
so-
artists say
there's
that
so
too.
many like there's so many like I guess just not necessarily Instagram pages, but there's so many people that just copy what we do sometimes. And I got signed up for a newsletter. I don't know how they just added us
Oh,
to a
they'll find your
subscription
email
list.
and they'll just
They'll
get
find the
you.
email. And it's like, oh, here's your weekly subscription. It's like, I am never going to do any business with you now that you went and found my email and are sending me weekly updates about the industry. And first off,
Yeah.
you're behind. Like I already knew this, but I've blocked them. I block a new publicist that said, if you send me more than one email every 2 or 3 days, you're blocked. Like I'm not talking. Like stop blowing me up. I'm not doing an interview. I don't
It's
think
quality control is
I'll
is
get,
what
like-
what we call it.
I'll get like hip hop artists from like Warner or Sony, and I'm like, don't put me on this one. You just give me your country stuff. I don't need to be on the hip hop one or the rock one or the pop one.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and it's just like more work to sort through. And then on top of it, my biggest pet peeve is like they'll put Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson, ... in the headline, and then it's
Yep.
like the whole point is like sounds like, and it's like I'll be the judge.
Damn,
of
they
that.
got you.
I'll be
Oh
the
my
judge
God.
of that. But it's like
I love getting this. The headline is like CMT premieres exclusive music video, and then sending it to me. It's like, why would I even touch this?
Yeah.
I do
I
not
can't-
care. I'm not affiliated.
That's what I'm curious. I'm just curious for the people that actually are clicking. How old are you? What are you doing with your life during the day that you're clicking on a CMT?
It's only
premiered
people like
video?
us getting those emails, though. It's not.
But who's dude? Who's
That's
navigating
not going
west
out to
to CMT.com for like a premiere? Like who knows like that? Like say John Party has a premiere tomorrow, but they're going to CMT to watch it. I don't know anyone that does that takes time out of their day to do it, but CMT still has that as their biggest feature every single week.
Oh, video premiere, we get 65 views on a video
Exactly.
in the first hour. Congratulations. Like,
It's incredible.
people
Yeah.
try to pitch that to me in the DMs. They're like, oh my God, my video just premiered on CMT. Will you post about it? No. The fuck? Like, why would I post about that?
to send
So
people
that's
to
the whole
CMT.
thing. It's like playing along with how things are currently. Like I think just with Country Central, we definitely can play a role in the industry of content curation and I don't know. I won't say taste making because I don't think we're tastemakers by any means, but I feel like we can do it and it not be forced. I know Nashville has a system that is forced because that's by design, but we don't. I mean, Colin, we don't want to play that.
You
that
guys
game
will
that's
see
so
more
forced.
and more that like, and I think you guys could be tastemakers in a sense. Like I wouldn't sell yourself short, but like this, like you'll get these like emails and then it'll be like, well, why would I like, or like, someday down the road, maybe you guys have a website where you start doing blog content or something, or where that wouldn't make sense to premiere something, or maybe it's on YouTube, whatever. And like, but it's still going to be fucking Rolling Stone. It's still going to be CMT. It's still going
They
to
still
be
don't like it. They
the
still
legacy.
fucking
It's
don't like it.
always going
We
to be
have
the legacy
receipts from
brands, even
every
though they don't get any
motherfucker.
fucking clicks.
We got receipts from
know?
everybody of us. We have proof of like who we've shared the most, our metrics, our traffic,
Who
blows
does the
everybody out of the
best,
water.
like,
But they don't like us because we're not in the circle.
yeah, it's very legacy brands,
Fine,
like
Fine, I don't give
Naturally,
a shit. Like, your little press
media
release doesn't do
legacy.
anything.
Mhm.
But
That's one of my favorite things to look at is like the social media stuff. I mean, obviously our Twitter is like a lot smaller and same with the Facebook, but I mean, like you go to some media outlets and they're getting like 200 likes an hour on some of their posts. And it's like, we'll blow them out of the water and they just don't even associate. Obviously, we're
well, they
still
don't
like
care because
pretty-
they're corporately owned.
they
that doesn't
don't
matter
care.
to
They,
them.
plus,
It's just
social media is
whatever.
like such a afterthought because they're like all their investors care about the website traffic. So
Yep.
they're like, oh well, we kind of just have to make social media because that's like in. So we kind of have to just post whatever photos we post on the website
Or copy ideas,
or
to
copy
keep things
ideas
moving.
from us. It's very common occurrence apparently.
So it's an
Join the
interesting
club.
world to be in. But as
Let's
far as
join
the good part of it, the fun part, I mean, I still think, I think it's a really cool time to be a country music fan. Like what you all have talked about all these different like artists we're really big fans of that are coming up, established people, but even you talked about mainstream people that you were enjoying some of their new material in 2022 even. So I think it's a
Bubba's
cool
talking.
place,
Yeah.
you can literally listen to anything you want nowadays. And
What?
yeah, I think now it's just our
Yeah.
job to kind of quality control where we can,
Yeah.
you know
Well,
what I mean?
It was great meeting you guys. Let's
Shit at the time, yeah.